Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I've just got a quick demo to show you. A friend of mine, Dan Leggett, has been posting a load of videos about how to use your Kemper, cool settings that exist, the morphing functions and things like that. Something he didn't touch on in his morphing thing, I don't think he's ever set it up on his, is something that I've been using live, and it's just a really handy little feature. So if you're into like whammy pedals and things like that, then this will give you kind of that whammy type sound, all on a momentary morph. So I've got a camera set up that is pointing at the pedal. I'll just show you how that works, and then I'll move the cameras around and I'll show you how to set it up on the Kemper as well. So here goes. Okay, so there's some pretty wacky sounds that you can get out of that. One thing to note is that if you hit the momentary button again during the time that you've set for your full time on the morphing, then you'll get like a slower re-attack, if you like, and it kind of, you can hear it swelling up again, but short over a longer period of time than it was in the than you've set in your rise time. So you can kind of muck about with that to quite cool effect. Actually, if you kind of double hit, you'll get a slightly different effect. As I say, I've set it to momentary, so it just kind of works as long as you're holding the pedal down. You can play loads of lines like that. As soon as you let go, it kind of comes back down to normal pitch. I'm going to move the cameras around and we'll show you how it all works. Okay, so here we are at the Kemper. I've just set up this demo rig. It's using a Victory V50 profile. I think it's from Michael Britt. This is like the core sound that I use for most of my live stuff, to be honest. It's amazing. So what we've got set up here is a few different things. First of all, in D here on the stomps, I've set up a pedal pitch effect. I've set the heel pitch to 0, which is obviously the default tone, and then the toe pitch to 12, so 12 notes up an octave. You can obviously set any kind of interval that you want, so you could go to 24, you could go to some strange interval if you want, or like a fifth or something like that. The mix control will affect how much of the original tone is also coming through. So if you want a proper whammy effect where you've got one pitch, then you need to set it all the way to 100%, but if you adjust that and put it somewhere in the middle, you'll actually get both tones, and you'll just get the second tone rising to whatever pitch you've set. So that's the first thing you need to configure. You can put it in any slot, and the important thing is that you must have the effect slot switched on, so that all the time, even though it's not doing anything the majority of the time when the morph is not switched on, the slot itself must be turned on. Then if you go into your system, you can scroll through the pages with the page buttons here. Sorry, I just knocked the camera. And when you get to pedal links, which is page 5 on mine, this is software version 7, by the way, you have a control up here which says morph pedal to pitch. You want to switch that on. That means that your morphing control is going to control any pitch effects that you've got set up. Again, I'm not the camera, apologies. It's going to control any pitch effects that you've got set up on the amp. So that's how you do that. And then just one other little thing to note is in the rig settings here, again, this is page 5 also, is the morph settings. And in the morph settings you can adjust your rise time and your fall time so that you get either a slow swell or a very quick swell, or an instantaneous as well. So those are controlled here by these first two dials. And you also want to turn on this switch here, which is the momentary switch. That will allow you to you know, it only functions while you've got the button pressed down. Otherwise it will just toggle, which is also a cool effect. You could set it to that, and then you would just be able to toggle the whammy on and off, which I think, if I remember from my Whammy 2, is actually an option as well. You can just use the switch to toggle it on and off and leave the pedal all the way up. So that may be an effect you want to use. Personally, I was obviously looking for the kind of swell effect. So I've set the rise time and fall time pretty short and pretty similar. On another pedal board I use a pitchfork, which does the same kind of thing. So I was trying to emulate the pitchfork when I was doing this. So that's what we've got. Yeah, and that's it basically. You're then set. As I said, the important thing to remember is to leave this effect block switched on. You don't want to turn that off on the standard sound. You want to leave it on all the time. Yeah, and that about covers it. Okay, thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope it was useful, and maybe, you know, somebody will create some cool sounds with it. Maybe you'll use it live. If I'm doing a gig with just the remote, it's a sound that I use on 2 or 3 songs in a covers band that I'm in, so it's really useful to replicate that same sound that I was getting with pedals before. Yeah, I'll shoot some more quick vids like this, and hopefully people find it useful. If you've got any ideas, please let me know. I'm not trying to tread on Dan's toes. He's doing an amazing job, but maybe I can fill in the in-betweens. Yeah, cheers. Hi, just an extra little thing that I forgot to film before. I will link Dan's video in here, and you should go and check that out, because he obviously goes into way more depth on all of the different ideas that you can do with the morph button. This was just a very specific thing that I know I use live and that I thought would be useful. So, cheers.